Alright, welcome back, and now we're going to do another example of solving a radical equation. So notice here we have two radicals, and again, it doesn't matter which one we start with, but we just have to isolate one of them. So let's just add this one to both sides. So we'll get m minus 1 is equal to negative 2 plus the square root of 3m plus 1. Okay. Now we're going to square both sides. Now when we square this side, just be careful. We're going to use the distributive method or the FOIL method to expand this out. So just make sure you keep track of what you're doing over here. So if we square both sides, we're going to do square root of, well, let's do it up here. We'll square this side, and then we're going to square this entire thing over here. So now over on this side, we're just going to get m minus 1. Now over here, this is squaring, so we're going to get a 4, and then we're going to cross, right? So this is going to give us what? It's going to give us negative 2 times this, but it's going to double, right? We're going to get 2 of those. So this is going to be minus 4 times 3m, the square root of 3m plus 1. Okay, and then this squared is going to give us the third term, but this squared gives us what? 3m plus 1. Okay, so now let's simplify. So this is going to give us, well actually, at this point we can simplify, but also we've got this other radical, so we've got to move everything over and we're going to isolate the radical, but let's simplify it as well. So in this case here, I'm going to subtract 3m from both sides. This is going to be 4 plus 1. That's going to give us 5, right? So let's subtract 3m. Let's make this a plus negative. And I'm just going to add the 4 and the 1 together to give 5. Okay? So that's what we end up with. And now I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Okay? So now these are going to go away. And I'm going to end up with what? I'm going to end up with negative 2m minus 6 is equal to negative 4 times the square root of 3m plus 1. Now I'm going to divide now I'm going to divide both sides by negative 4. Right? And so now I get what? I get the square root of 3m plus 1 equals, this is going to give me so if I pull the negative out, let's just do this. If I pull the negative out, so factor out a negative 1, that negative is going to cancel with that negative. Okay? So this is going to become this. And then I can factor out a 2, right? I could have done this all in one step, but then I can factor out a 2. And so if I factor out a 2, that's going to leave me with what? M plus 3. And then I can simplify this, right? 2 goes into 4 twice. So I get 1/2. So what I'm going to end up here, if I simplify it, is m plus 3 all over 2. Okay? Now at this point here, if you want to split it up into two fractions, right? M over 2 plus 3 halves, you can. But I'm going to leave it like this, one fraction, because I'm going to square, and this is going to be much easier to deal with as one fraction, instead of having to do the distributive method again, the distributive property or the FOIL method again. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides like I did before to get rid of the radical. Okay? So that means I'm going to get 3m plus 1 is equal to this, but this is going to be what? It's going to become m plus 3 squared over 4. Okay, now if I multiply both sides by 4, I get 12m plus 4 is equal to, and if I, well, let's do this, m plus 3 squared. So now this part is going to end up becoming m squared plus 6m plus 9 is equal to 12m plus 4. And now I'm going to subtract 12m from both sides. And I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. And these are going to go away. And so I'm going to get 0 is equal to m squared minus 6m plus 5. And so now, here's where I need the factor, right? So now I've got a quadratic equation, and so I need two factors of 5 that will give me negative 6. Well, if I have a positive here and negative, that means the positive here means that they both have to be the same sign. The fact that this is negative means they both have to be negative. So it's negative 1 and negative 5 will work. Okay, so now I can factor this and say, okay, that means x, not x, m. M minus 1 times m minus 5 is equal to 0. And that means either m is equal to 1 or m is equal to 5. Okay? And so those are my possible solutions. So again, I'm going to take these and plug them back into my original equation and see if I get a true statement. So see if I get negative 2 for both of these. So if I put 1 in here, I get 0. So that goes away. If I put 1 in here, I get 3 plus 1 is 4. And I get the square root of 4 is 2. And I get negative 2, which is correct. If I get m equals 5, so if I put a 5 in here, I get the square root of 4, which is 2. And if I put 5 in here, I get 16, which is the square root of 16 is 4. And I get 2 minus 4, which is negative 2, and that works too. So they are both solutions, and so I would write my solution set as this. There you go. Have a great day.